war for control. The control of your mind and your body. Americans are traditionally independent, very hard to control. But the architects of the New World Order have ways to force you into submission. First, through a well-orchestrated agenda including health care, financial security, safety from crime, and environmental issues, the public will be coerced into accepting a national identification card. It will be disguised in the cloak of benevolence, the government doing a great good deed for the people. Once the national identification card is in place, it will become the ID card. Without it, you'll not be able to make deposits or withdrawals at the bank, write a check at the supermarket, or even drive your automobile. Soon thereafter, legislation will require all citizens to carry their national ID card at all times.
Drop jelly beans, GMT, peyote, I know you feel me. Peace song is a natural trip to me. My rhymes are so vivid, you start to see things way different. America's fate, I was fast asleep, but now I'm wide awake. I was under the spell of King Goo and reserve notes. Religion and fashion, I used to be flashy till I had.
They are a secret network of international pirates who identify with no nation, no national flag, and no established religion. Their flag is the skull and crossbones, and their god, G-O-D, spells gold, oil, and drugs.
1, 2, aight. Yeah. That's right. Live from the belly. They got me behind the fence, I run shit from the inside. The fucking president of the infamous gang. Get away from my stank. I got that icky cotton picky shit that had you days. I'm a quadruple OG, a old soul, call me the reincarnation of the pharaoh with an OE. The barrel full of hot lead, shoot a pot head. Talking that shit about hip-hop dead. Now it's live from behind the gate, permanent smiley face. Any nigga stunning on the guard, now you out of place. I beat a lot of cases, had to take a L. I see you in the hot set, yep, hold it down. Money is worthless, real power is people. Real strength is in the street where everybody's equal. Fuck jury, fuck rims. Let's spend on our protection. Get armor, get cameras. Get with it, little nigga, this man shit. Real power is people. Real strength is in the street where everybody's live from behind the wall. Sitting staring at the wall. I'm fit to pop out this bitch like a newborn. I'm fit to cut out all the smoking and the drinking, the wine and the spirits. It's evil when you think it, baby, so I'm telling the truth. You live it, then you see it. You breathe it, then you bid. I tell you, little secret, it's a secret. Government that worship an owl. They practice witchcraft to harness their power. Pedophiles rape little kids for energy. It's satanic ritual. WTC, R.I.P. They lit the Pentagon on fire. That's lighting the pentagram on fire. All these bodies for what? See, you scare everybody in the one world, huh? All my crimes is on deck. So if you ain't come for a war, then run. Money is worthless, real power is people. Real strength is in the street where everybody's equal. Fuck jury, fuck rims. Let's spend on our protection. Get armor, get cameras. Get with it, little nigga, this man shit. Real power is people. Real strength is in the street where everybody's equal.
Is that possible? Is that possible? It could. Is it possible, ladies and gentlemen? It is possible he has been shot. And another man, and possibly shot in the head, has fired the shot. He has fired the shot. He still has the gun. The gun is pointed at me right at this moment. I hope they can get the gun out of his hand. Be very careful. Get the gun. Get the gun. Get the gun.
All right. We back. We back in this thing. Rot in piss. J cunt Roth scum. That's what we're here for. We're here for a celebration, folks. And we've revamped the backup now. So the so-called Shadowgun Syndicate extends to other areas of the metaverse, so to speak. However, this is somewhat separate, different spelling, therefore slightly different channel broadcast and otherwise. What did I have here? Give me a minute, I'm having a little tech glitch. All right, here we go. There we go. Yeah, it looks like some people have a lot of issues as well. I know the feeling. AIX after you. Oh no, the AIX, the Artificial Intelligence X. Better call up Mr. Archaics. All right, let's get into it, folks. He's gone, allegedly, according to World News. Let's check the optics out. Much love. Dead at 87. All right, I'll read along here. Let's read along. Financier dies, aged 87, Lord Jacob Rothschild. Financier and member of the Rothschild banking family, Lord Jacob Rothschild, has died aged 87. The British peer started his career in the family bank N.M. Rothschild and Sons. In '63, he co-founded J. Rothschild Assurance Group, now St. James Place. Interesting, St. James Place. You don't say. Like St. James Island? Coincidence, I'm sure. With Sir Mark Weinberg. He also founded Windmill Hill Asset Management to manage his family's something. Our father Jacob was a towering presence in many people's lives. A superbly accomplished financier, a champion of the arts and culture. That's it? That's okay. All right. Devoted public servant, a passionate supporter of charitable causes in Israel and Jewish culture, a keen environmentalist. I don't know what that says there. And much loved friend and something grandfather. Oh, I'm sure he was all those things. Not a bad bone in him. Now this here is the Rothschild Prayer Book.
The Rothschild Prayer Book is the most significant and most exquisite manuscript of the Flemish Renaissance. One of the most fantastic illuminated manuscripts in private hands.
It is essentially a prayer book, but it was meant for so much more than the private devotions of its owners. It's about display. It reflects contemporary life as much as it does religious life. And it's just a treasury of beautiful images.
They used the very best artists working in the Flemish Renaissance at the time. Gerard David, Simon Benning, his father Alexander Benning, and Gerard Hornbout. The quality of this manuscript is absolutely exceptional.
It has no fewer than 67 full-page miniatures with fantastic borders around them of great variety, representing jewellery from the time, luxury fabrics, most wonderful naturalistic flowers, and little genre scenes too. There are similar works bringing together the same illuminators and the same styles, but none is as beautiful as this one.
The Rothschild prayer book was commissioned for a very important patron of the court of the Netherlands. It ended up in the Rothschild collections in 1868. In 1938, it was looted by the Nazis and ended up in Austria. It was restituted in 1999 to the Rothschild family and then sold here at Christie's with the rest of their restituted treasures.
I first dealt with it for the Rothschild sale 14 years ago, and it's an extraordinary pleasure to have the opportunity to spend time with it again. One of the things that's so fantastic about it is that the relationship that you have with it when you look at it is much the same as the original owner would have had.
It preserves its gilt edges and the original gophering, which is actually displayed in some of the figures of the female saints and the male saints.
Manuscripts, very resilient things, and this is a terrific example of that.
It's extremely unusual for anything of this quality and of this beauty to be offered at the public auction. It's certainly the finest illuminated manuscript that I've ever seen in my career, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have been able to show it to people and to see the same reaction reflected in their eyes that I have had. This really is one of the great masterpieces of illumination.
Hey, Internet friends. On Monday, February 26, 2024, Jacob Rothschild was reported dead. He was heir to the Rothschild banking dynasty, a family who was notorious for financing every side of every recent war, a family intimately associated with the Federal Reserve. He's an important figure to discuss as much of what his family has taken credit for. We're seeing the consequences of these actions play out today. The name Rothschild is synonymous with current events, even though they like to orchestrate from behind the scenes. For example, before World War II in 1917, the British Foreign Secretary wrote a letter to Lionel Walter Rothschild. For example, before World War II in 1917, the British Foreign Secretary wrote a letter to Lionel Walter Rothschild. This was called the Balfour Declaration, and in it, he said that the British government supported a Jewish state in Palestine, which of course emboldened the Zionist movement and eventual establishment of Israel. Obviously, that's a big deal today because everyone's still fighting over it. The hard truth is that Israel is a common denominator in every major conflict we see play out across the world stage.
And here it is, the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history of the Jewish people. If you think it took 3,000 years to get to this. And then you say, how did this miracle happen? It's the most incredible piece of opportunism.
Talking about the Rothschild family can be kind of touch and go. And I'm not talking about just the censorship aspect of this. In a sense, they're the manifestation of this reality's boogeyman, and they're dedicated to their role. For an example, here's a picture of Jacob Rothschild with Marina Abramovic in front of a painting entitled Satan Summoning His Legions. Of course, Marina Abramovic is responsible for greatest hits like Spirit Cooking, as she was one of the central figures of Pizzagate. Zelensky even asked Marina Abramovic to be the ambassador to Ukraine back in 2023. And you remember all this discourse about Ukraine being the new Israel. It's almost too perfect. It feels too scripted to be true. All that's really needed are faint echoes of maniacal laughter playing on a loop in the background. But of course, never mention blood libel. It's just a anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. The Rothschilds are so openly proud of their queer practices that they just brag about it. Here's Jacob Rothschild talking about how his family kept power within the family through inbreeding.
And Baron James, who was head of the Paris branch and the youngest of the 5 sons of our actual Rothschild, gave an astonishingly uninhibited description of the 19th century Rothschild policy of keeping it in the family. I'll quote to you from what he wrote, make you smile. In our family, we've always tried to keep love in the family. In this sense, it was more or less understood since childhood that children would never think of marrying outside the family, so that our fortune would never leave it. You couldn't write that today.
And Jacob Rothschild's reported death really means nothing. I've heard rumors that he's actually the father of Princess Diana's first son, William, which would be very interesting timing considering the current state of King Charles. But again, those are just rumors and they're easily dismissed. In fact, there's all kinds of rumors about this family that seem so strange it could never be possible. But their timeline of accolades truly demonstrates that reality is stranger than fiction. Also, I just want to say I've seen people celebrating this guy's death across social media, saying that since Henry Kissinger is dead and the old Rockefeller guy is dead and now Jacob Rothschild, they think the New World Order is over because these figureheads are dead. But if you just look around, you realize that's totally silly because the majority are sucked into their phones and shot up with the latest medical potion and handing over every ounce of information to the surveillance grid for free, by the way. Eating poisoned food and still wearing, some people are still wearing face masks in the Costco. I've seen y'all. I've made eye contact with y'all. But for me, this is simply an educational opportunity on showing those who are curious on how the world really works from a historical perspective, in hopes that we can collectively notice patterns and avoid mistakes of the past. My Rothschild family documentary has been hidden on YouTube since I put it up, age restricted, so I'm going to play it for you now.
Hey internet friends, chances are if you've spent any amount of time trying to figure out how the world really operates, you've stumbled upon the name Rothschild a time or two during your travels. While Rothschild isn't a household name like Bush or Clinton, the Rothschilds play a lead role on the global stage. But unlike our political figureheads, we have no say in their rule, much less a say in how they rule. In fact, what I've noticed is that if you even dare suggest that the Rothschilds or any other family or corporation is playing puppeteer, you'll get labeled an anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist at some point in your venture. But in an effort to reveal what was once hidden, let us cast away the fear of being laughed at or shunned. This won't be an exhaustive video on the Rothschilds, but if you're new around here, I hope to give you enough information to spark your interest so you'll do your own research. And maybe, in a not too distant future, we can all work together to formulate some solutions, some peaceful solutions. While not the only ruling body near the top of the pyramid, the House of Rothschild, their Jesuit handlers, and most importantly, the driving force behind their actions, are all certainly worthy of discussion. Don't you think?
The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that.
The Rothschilds claim to be a wealthy Jewish banking family that got their start in 1760 when Mayer Rothschild established his banking dynasty and sent his 5 sons to foreign countries to continue the family business. At least that's what the majority of their published story claims. But this is just one token in a jingling coin purse of tricks. The story of the House of Rothschild begins long before the 18th century. The Rothschilds are Khazar Jews who converted to Judaism but never made the full conversion. While this is a sensitive and complicated matter to research and discuss, if you follow the Bible, take note that the Bible warns of fake Jews not once, but twice. Another tip-off is that their name isn't really Rothschild. The family did the old switcheroo and changed from Bauer to Rothschild, using the red shield outside their residence as inspiration for their new identity. Rothschild, German for red shield. Here's where the published history usually begins. After establishing himself as a banker through a series of tactics like offering rare coins and treasure at a discount to nobility, Mayer Rothschild secured himself as a member in the in crowd, getting in good with the Prince of Germany by assisting with his rent-a-troop business. And as a court Jew, he lent money and handled the finances of the nobility. And when Mayer Rothschild sent his 5 sons to expand their family business to London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, and Naples, their banks caught on by using a system where you could go deposit your gold at a Rothschild bank in one country, get a receipt for it, take that receipt to another country, and withdraw your gold. So during your travels, you wouldn't be separated from what is yours by theft or any other misfortune. And while that was a pretty novel idea, it's important to note that a key function of banks in general is to offer loans and charge interest. That's how they profit. But when this system goes unregulated and the bankers assess a desperate need for money, thus charging an exorbitant interest rate to loan out that money, that's when things go south. Because when a person or a government is faced with the prospect of either losing human life or taking on interest for a loan, well, most folks are going to go the interest route, since human life is priceless. The ideology or motivation behind this greed is one of the major factors of how we got here today. That's the basic foundation, but let's get to the real meat and potatoes of the story, the wavering moral compass that led to immense wealth. While the Rothschilds had a hand in the opium and slave trades, the City of London's central banking system, counterfeit money, and the French Revolution, I told y'all this was going to be an accelerated history. I don't want y'all to have to sip from your camelbacks and slip on a pair of Depends to watch a single video of mine, so let's move on to the Rothschilds' funding of American colonies, their role in the American Civil War, and the series of events that led to the creation of the big kicker, the Federal Reserve. The American Civil War was financed by the House of Rothschild. They backed both sides. And throughout this video, you'll notice this trend. The funding of both sides stirs and finances the hatred for both sides. And since wars profit, especially when bankers are the ones who profit from the loans the government takes out, at one point, Abraham Lincoln needed more money. And the rates he was offered by the New York bankers were too high. Thus, he began printing government money. Take note that this money, unlike the money issued by the Federal Reserve today, collected no interest. Thus, Lincoln managed to work around the Rothschilds. But less than 2 months before the end of the American Civil War, President Lincoln was assassinated. You might notice another trend, the trend of dying figureheads anytime they go against the money trust, or the main belief that the majority of the world's financial wealth and political power could be controlled by a powerful few. Now that we laid out their basic strategy, which is to cause wars or help them out, give them a little nudge through some provocation, resulting in maybe a crisis or two. Loans are dished out at exorbitant interest rates on both sides of the wars. Then when both of those governments can't repay those debts, the Rothschild Bank calls in the loans and takes possession, installing a central bank. In 1913, the same year the Rothschild-funded Anti-Defamation League was founded, the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States, was conceived. It is neither federal or owned by the government. The Federal Reserve is privately owned, which means it generates private wealth. Guess who benefits?
Wait, you motherfucker. We challenge you to a rock-off. Down. Give us one chance to knock your socks off. Yeah, coming at ya.
Not the American people. 1 year after the creation of the Federal Reserve, World War I began, pitting the Allied and Central Powers against each other. Guess who was funding both sides again? You guessed it. And the result was the fall of the German, Russian, Ottoman, and Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Fuck! I gotta play that clip now. You know what? You just brought it up. I gotta.
But who cares if there's money to be made off both of the winning and losing sides? After all, it brings us closer to a one-world government, doesn't it? And a one-world government means a central global bank. In 1917, through the Balfour Declaration, the British government expressed their support for a Jewish homeland in Palestine. The letter was written to none other than Baron Lionel Walter Rothschild. With the Versailles Treaty of 1919, Britain was entrusted with the temporary administration of Palestine. Now I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. With the Rothschild bankers funding both the Axis and the Allies, the Second World War brought us closer to a one-world government with the establishment of the United Nations. But money wasn't the only thing that the Rothschilds contributed to the Second World War. According to a book by psychoanalyst Walter Langer, not only was Hitler supported by the Rothschilds, he was a Rothschild. Hitler's father was the illegitimate son of a girl who was living in Vienna at the time she conceived. And at that time, she was employed as a servant in the home of Baron Rothschild. But as soon as the family discovered her pregnancy, she was sent back home, where Hitler's father was born. With the House of Rothschild claiming to be a Jewish family and the force behind the Zionist movement, their connections to Hitler and the funding of both world wars is curious, especially given that one of the results of World War II was the State of Israel. How many lives have been lost in wars funded by bankers? War is profit, and if war ceases to continue, the cash flow stops, thus posing a big old problem for those who rely on war for wealth. In 1963, even though war was over, the bloodshed hadn't stopped. On June 4th, President John F. Kennedy signed an executive order which returned to the U.S. government the power to issue currency, which meant they didn't have to go through the Rothschild-owned Federal Reserve. 6 months later, JFK was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. In the following decades, central banks continued to pop up across the world, with the European Central Bank set up in 1998 in Frankfurt, the city from which the Rothschilds' banking dynasty began. And after 9/11, the United States declared a war we've really not been able to get out of, an endless war on terrorism that the world is frightened into with each seemingly random terrorist attack. Hatred and fear fuels each side of the war, but only one entity funds both sides, keeping each rival distracted from focusing their attention on whose war this really is.
I wonder what will happen to us, to people like you and me, when there are finally no more wars to occupy us.
Magicians can only enchant their audience if the audience is unaware of how the trick is executed. If more people knew about how the shadow government operated, then maybe we could channel our energy into creating solutions for the future. But that's the thing, we're too busy paying away our debts, working at jobs we hate, so we can spend a little time with the people we love. We can never truly free ourselves without being able to name who rules over us. If you have any solutions to our current predicament, I'd love to hear them. As always, I look forward to your comments. Thank you for subscribing and supporting my channel on Patreon. Bye!
Es war eine Familie, die ursprünglich aus Frankfurt am Main kamen und sie haben dort gelebt im jüdischen Ghetto. Und der Stammvater der Familie, Meyer-Amschel Rothschild, war so ein kleiner Münzhändler, der sich einfach im Bohr gearbeitet hat. Und er hatte 5 Söhne und diese 5 Söhne sind dann in europäische Städte gezogen und haben dann das Familienunternehmen der Rothschilds aufgebaut.
What now?
Also die Rothschilds waren sehr stark verknüpft mit dem aufkommenden Bankwesen im 19. Jahrhundert und waren auch in der Bevölkerung durch die Presse, durch Karikaturen sehr bekannt und waren quasi auch ein Gesicht ein bisschen für das Bankwesen. Und anstatt, dass man die spekulativen Mechanismen des Kapitalismus für gewisse Verfehlungen dieses Systems verantwortlich gemacht hat, hat man die Rothschilds als die jüdischen Hintermänner quasi bezeichnet und dafür verantwortlich gemacht. Und das sieht man heute auch noch immer. Vor allem jetzt im Zuge der Covid-19-Pandemie ist es wieder sehr aktuell, wo heute natürlich andere Persönlichkeiten von Verschwörungserzählern verantwortlich gemacht werden. Also wenn man zum Beispiel anschaut, hört man dort oft die Namen von George Soros oder auch Bill Gates. Also seien diese Leute jüdisch oder nicht jüdisch, sie werden für was verantwortlich gemacht. Und Rothschild findet man dann auch immer wieder dort.
Well, hell has gained a new member.
Well, so the name of that video was, let's see that one more time. Name of that video that we just watched was Vienna Show Spotlights Rothschild Conspiracy Theory. One more time, since some people just got in here.
Es war eine Familie, die ursprünglich aus Frankfurt am Main kamen und sie haben dort gelebt im jüdischen Ghetto. Und der Stammvater der Familie, Meyer-Amschel Rothschild, war so ein kleiner Münzhändler, der sich einfach im Bohr gearbeitet hat. Und er hatte 5 Söhne und diese 5 Söhne sind dann in europäische Städte gezogen und haben dann das Familienunternehmen der Rothschilds aufgebaut.
Also die Rothschilds waren sehr stark verknüpft mit dem aufkommenden Bankwesen im 19. Jahrhundert und waren auch in der Bevölkerung durch die Presse, durch Karikaturen sehr bekannt und waren quasi auch ein Gesicht ein bisschen für das Bankwesen. Und anstatt, dass man die spekulativen Mechanismen des Kapitalismus für gewisse Verfehlungen dieses Systems verantwortlich gemacht hat, hat man die Rothschilds als die jüdischen Hintermänner quasi bezeichnet und dafür verantwortlich gemacht. Und das sieht man heute auch noch immer. Vor allem jetzt im Zuge der Covid-19-Pandemie ist es wieder sehr aktuell, wo heute natürlich andere Persönlichkeiten von Verschwörungserzählern verantwortlich gemacht werden. Also wenn man zum Beispiel anschaut, hört man dort oft die Namen von George Soros oder auch Bill Gates. Also seien diese Leute jüdisch oder nicht jüdisch, sie werden für was verantwortlich gemacht. Und Rothschild findet man dann auch immer wieder dort.
Well,
I enjoy Static in the Attic.
Jacob Rothschild.
They have some good stuff.
Rothschild died. You know, when it comes to the Rothschilds, there's still a lot of people out there that have never heard of that family's name before, the Rothschild name. And for even those who have heard of it before, like the diet woke folk who are starting to wake up, but kind of only part of the way there, they still don't really understand the depth and breadth of the Rothschilds family's dealings over the past couple of centuries, especially with setting up central banks and Federal Reserve and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's still something a lot of people had to wake up to. But hey, starting off Monday with some good news here. You know what's interesting? Over there in England, few days ago, on the 23rd, so that would have been 3 days ago, people were kind of wondering because I guess a white horse, there was this symbolic riding of a white horse right outside of Westminster in the UK, right outside the royal grounds. And
What
it's
are you
weird.
going
I
to do,
guess it's a
Emilius?
super
What
rare
are
thing
you going
to
to
see
do, you
and
know?
to happen over there in Westminster.
What can you
People
do?
were wondering what's up with it. I wonder if the elites in the UK heard of this news of Rothschild passing early and they conducted their little going away ceremony, I suppose. Did this 3 days later, we get the news Rothschild passed away. And I mean, if you don't know much about the Rothschilds, man, they are spawns of Satan themselves. Most members of the Rothschild family are probably in on that globalist Illuminati death cult. Can't generalize. Maybe there's a couple members of the Rothschild family who aren't in on all that stuff. But when it comes to Jacob Rothschild, here he is being photographed with none other than spirit cooker Marina Abramovich herself. And the photo behind them, this painting they're standing in front of, the painting is named Satan Summoning His Legions. It was a painting created in 1791 by Sir Thomas Lawrence. That's the actual name of the painting, Satan Summoning His Legions. And big friggin' surprise, Jacob Rothschild and Marina Abramovich seem to really love that painting, taking a photo in front of it. Wonder why. Cabal, cult. And also, a little bit before that, 1972, flashback to 72. These are some real infamous photos. The Rothschild family held a party at one of their French chateaux, some giant mansion that the Rothschild family owns in France. Here are some actual photos from what was called the Rothschild Surrealist Ball, 1972. I mean, look at these creepy mofos, man. The height of arrogance. Look at this one. What the heck? Like decapitated, deformed babies as the centerpiece of the dining table. Oh, what the heck is that? What the heck is that? And mind you, this is a public party where they allow these photographs to be shown to the world. What the heck goes on at their secret meetings? That's what I want to know. Actually, I don't know if I want to know, but we deserve to know. What the heck do these Illuminati cult folk do at their secret meetings? The ones where cameras aren't allowed, right? And then seeing the reaction on social media to this today, the real bad takes. Like this guy. I don't know who this guy is. I guess he's a IDF soldier. The Jew the protocols warned you about. That's what he calls himself. I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't have a problem with Jews as long as they're good people. I know there's a lot of innocent people in Israel, but let's be real. There's a lot of deep state shills over there too. Let's see. The Rothschilds helped to abolish slavery globally, this guy thinks. Really? Last I checked, they helped to institute wage slave systems, fractional reserve banking, central banking that's made us all poorer and essentially slaves to the system around the globe. This guy actually thinks the Rothschilds helped to abolish slavery globally. Sent relief to the Irish famine, defended persecuted Jews in Russia, supported the black civil rights movement, hated for no real reason besides anti-Semitism and lies. This guy is dumb. He is quite dumb. Rothschilds hated for no reason except lies. We love them. And then ironically, we got Mike Rothschild over here. He is not a part of that Rothschild family, though, supposedly. But he is a straight mainstream media shill. Absolute clown. This guy's a pile of frickin' shit, Mike Rothschild. Lord Jacob Rothschild is passed. He was a major part of the Rothschild conspiracy theory, and a popular meme falsely claimed the character of Mr. Burns was based on him. Oh no, man, when you compare Mr. Burns to Lord Jacob Rothschild, there's a striking similarity. Let's just say that. I wrote about his role in the Rothschild myth in his book, Jewish Space Lasers. Because anytime a global elite dies, that's the perfect time to shill your book, you grifter. What else did he say? Anti-Semitic cranks blamed Lord Jacob Rothschild for everything from the MH370 to the pandemic to carbon taxes. He took on an almost cartoon villain role as the head of the family that owns $500 trillion. He was none of these things, of course. What the fuck? What the fuck? What a straw man. Yeah, the Rothschild family, certainly they are far richer than what is publicly advertised. 500 trillion? No, that's a red herring argument. Maybe a few trillion? For sure. Was the Rothschild family behind the Malaysian plane and the pandemic and carbon taxes? No, maybe partially, but there's a hell of a lot of other globalist cucks out there that are the true responsible parties behind these things. What the fuck kind of stupid ass tweet is that? That's the thing. This Rothschild guy, he's such a clown, but that's just a hint of the water that's being carried for Lord Jacob Rothschild on social media today. But at the end of the day, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm gonna pop champagne tonight, but I don't know if I can afford champagne due to the freaking Federal Reserve Bank the Rothschilds helped set up. I don't know. Hey, but the soul of the planet today is lighter. It's a happy day. It's a beautiful day. Lord Jacob Rothschild is gone. And we can only hope that George Soros is next.
I'm Mr. Beats, and let's get this out of the way first. Conspiracies are real. They really do happen. And governments hide stuff from citizens. And they often do it to hide stuff that they did that looks really, really bad. They classify documents in the name of national security, and then later we find out about stuff like Operation Paperclip and the Tuskegee experiment. And don't even get me started about billionaires. Billionaires are very powerful, and they often influence governments to do what they want to do, and they can be just as corrupt. That all said, let's have a serious look at the Rothschild family. Also known as the Rothschilds dynasty, they are an extremely wealthy family that all descend from a dude named Meyer Rothschild, known as the, quote, founding father of international finance. Meyer and his 5 sons all built up a fortune by loaning money to princes who were going to war with each other. Yep, they were bankers, moneylenders. Everybody loves moneylenders, am I right? And war was good for business. Through both the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars, they made a huge fortune. After the fall of Napoleon and the death of Meyer, his sons set up shop all over Europe. London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, and Naples, to be specific. In all places, they loaned money to the aristocracy and the government. Meanwhile, they had joined the aristocracy themselves, eventually becoming some of the most powerful people in the world. Pretty impressive since they were Jewish. Whoa, are you anti-Semitic? You're a horrible human being. No, my point was that it's impressive that they were able to build up so much power and wealth despite all of the anti-Semitism that was so common at the time. For centuries, Jews had faced systematic discrimination and persecution, which made it really hard for them to build up wealth. So the Rothschilds overcame this. Speaking of anti-Semitism, I do have a video about that. Before you check it out, though, I want to warn you that the comment section might make you lose your faith in humanity. As I said in that video, since Christians weren't allowed to lend money for profit, but Jews could, Jews often turned to money lending to build up wealth since they often weren't allowed to own land and were often forced to live in Jewish ghettos. Meyer Rothschild actually lived in one of those Jewish ghettos in Frankfurt, which at the time was part of the Holy Roman Empire. He had a rough childhood. His parents had both died by the time he was 12, so it was quite amazing Meyer was able to rise to power the way he did. Speaking of impressive, Matt of Useful Charts has released an impressive family tree that clearly shows the Rothschilds dynasty. If you're not familiar with Useful Charts, it's basically Matt's company that releases these beautiful historical diagrams. He sells them as posters on his website and also has a YouTube channel highlighting his diagrams. This video is a collaboration of his Rothschild family tree. Be sure to check out his video going over it when you're done watching this one. Anyway, before Meyer Rothschild died in 1812, he gave very clear instructions to his sons for how to handle the finances of the family. He wanted their wealth kept within the family and encouraged marriages between cousins. Ew. And he went as far as to say never give a direct inheritance to daughters. But yeah, this explains why so much of the wealth stayed with the Rothschilds throughout the 1800s. However, by the end of the 1800s, there were other plutocrats, man. The Rothschilds were no longer the top dogs in the world in terms of wealth. Not only that, but family rivalries, politics, and wars greatly decreased Rothschild wealth. The Naples branch closed in 1863, and no male heirs led to the Frankfurt branch closing in 1901. The Vienna branch closed after the Nazis invaded Austria in 1938. Most of the Rothschilds in Vienna fled, selling their bank for a fraction of what it was actually worth. During World War II, the Nazis seized millions of dollars worth of precious items and art from the Rothschilds in France. Most of it was never returned. Flash forward to today, and all that remains is Rothschild & Company, a multinational investment bank and financial services company, and the Edmund de Rothschild Group, another financial services company. Don't get me wrong, most of the Rothschilds around today still have lots of wealth, much of it due to assets passed down over the centuries. However, today the Rothschilds have little power and wealth compared to what they had at their peak. In fact, just one Rothschild made the Forbes list of billionaires this year. Benjamin Rothschild, head of the aforementioned Edmund de Rothschild Group, is the 1,349th richest person in the world. That said, the family remains very secretive, which is one reason why so many conspiracy theories surround them even today. I mean, we don't know how much wealth the entire family actually has. One source says $2 trillion, while another source says maybe less than 25 billion. Look, the Rothschilds don't appear to control the world. I mean, there are 2,207 billionaires that don't have any direct ties to the Rothschild family whatsoever. So how can only the Rothschilds control the world? I think all the billionaires control the world.
Just want to let you know, the New World Order has no legitimacy, and that we as a people are not afraid, and we are waking up to the robber barons and the big banksters who are looting this economy with the Federal Reserve. The Rothschild family did start the Federal, they divided Europe first, took over Europe, the Napoleon.
Don't exaggerate.
But conspiracy persist that the Rothschilds control everything due to their ability to control banking and finance throughout the world.
But was Mr. Rothschild a moral man? Here's a man that had 5 sons, and he sent his 5 sons into 5 countries. And from these sons, they worked and maneuvered and manipulated until they gained control of the central banks of England, France, Austria, Italy, and Germany. But a Jew, Rothschild, loaned money to Adolf Hitler.
The House of Rothschild own Israel. They funded the early settlers. They fund it now. They funded the building of the Knesset, Israeli parliament. They funded the Supreme Court building, which is full of occult symbols, etc., which is what the Rothschilds are. They are a black magic family, what people call an occult family, that is, just these hidden. Going back to the Middle Ages.
Everything from wars to the weather to causing the Holocaust or 9/11, some claim the Rothschilds were behind it all. So how did these conspiracy theories get started? For starters, it didn't help that the Rothschilds were Jewish. Anti-Semitism was a serious issue when they rose to dominate finance in the early 1800s, but it only got worse later on. And Satan certainly didn't help. I'm serious. In 1846, a pamphlet called the, quote, Rothschild pamphlet went viral, and it was written by someone who went by the pseudonym Satan. Satan said that at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, Nathan Rothschild realized the French were going to lose, so he quickly returned to Britain to make money on the stock exchange. The story wasn't true at all. In fact, Nathan Rothschild was nowhere near the Battle of Waterloo, but the story spread regardless, and the myth was born that the Rothschilds absolutely loved making money from wars. I mean, they loved making money, but they didn't start wars to make money. Later, the protocols of the Elders of Zion didn't help the Rothschilds' reputation after it revealed the secret plans of Jews to take over the world. Of course.
All right, so for the record, this guy's showing Jones, he's showing Ike, he's saying all this stuff that I'm sure he doesn't have proof of. So, and this is a very recommended video. It was pretty high up there. And I'm pretty sure it has 6-figure views. So, yeah, food for thought. Again, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion is considered by many to be a bunk document. So let's continue.
Of course, those were also proved to be fake as well. And the Rothschilds further didn't help their reputation.
Well, that makes me think they're real now. So let me all things considered, I'm always uncertain as well. So Bill Cooper said, read everything, listen to everyone, believe nothing except for what you can prove in your own right.
When they expressed both vocal supports and monetary supports for the creation of the state of Israel. And finally, the secretive nature of the Rothschilds also didn't help their reputation. People often create conspiracy theories when there are lots of secrets. It's fun to fill in the blanks on your own, after all. So do the Rothschilds control the world? Perhaps parts of it, but I'd say the Waltons control bigger parts of it. But what do I know? I'm a card-carrying member of the Illuminati. Be sure to check out Matt's video over on his YouTube channel, simply called Useful Charts. His useful chart is the Rothschild family tree, of course. Be sure to subscribe while you're over there. And next week, I have an even bigger collaboration involving, I think, around 20 YouTubers. It's going to be huge. In fact, it will be revolutionary. Thank you for watching, my fellow tinfoil hat-wearing brothers and sisters.
Yes, that's yours. Could you read for the queen what it says? Could you read? 1, 2, 3.
You ever teach them drawing up? This is not drawing right.
Don't forget, Prince Philip dead at 99 on the 99th day of the year, 9 months and 9 days before Betty White died at 99, which was 9 months and 9 months, 9 months and 9 days before Queefa Lizard Bitch died. Yeah, there she is right there. Or he, or it, or they, or whatever that thing is. Okay, I missed the part, but this is wise. This is kind of off topic here, but is it time for a more subtle view on the ultimate taboo, cannibalism? New archaeological evidence shows that ancient humans ate each other surprisingly often, sometimes for compassionate reasons. The finds give us an opportunity to reassess our views on the practice. What an interesting timing for this article, don't you think? Valentine's Day? Huh. Interesting. It is the ultimate taboo. In most societies, the idea of one human eating another is morally repugnant, even in circumstances where it could arguably be justified, such as when a plane crashed in the Andes in '72 and starving passengers ate the dead to survive. We still have a deep aversion to cannibalism. One of these survivors, Roberto Canessa, has since described the passengers' actions as a descent towards our ultimate indignity. Ethically, cannibalism poses fewer issues than you might imagine. If a body can be bequeathed with consent to medical science, why can't it be left to feed the hungry? Our aversion has been explained in various ways. Perhaps it is down to the fact that Western religious traditions, perhaps it is down to the fact that in Western religious traditions, bodies are seen as the seat of the soul and have a whiff of the sacred. Or maybe it's culturally ingrained with roots in early modern colonialism when racist stereotypes of the cannibal were concocted to justify subjugation. These came to represent the other to Western societies, and revulsion towards cannibalism became a tenet of their moral conscience. Is my sound good? Am I 5x5? Let me know in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Thank you, sir. A slew of recent archaeological discoveries is now further complicating how we think about human cannibalism. Researchers have unearthed evidence suggesting that our hominin ancestors ate each other surprisingly often. What's more, it seems that they weren't always doing so for the reasons you might expect, for sustenance or to compete against and intimidate rivals, but often as funerary rituals to honor their dead. Like it or not, then, cannibalism is an important part of our story. This isn't to say that we should change our attitudes towards it, but understanding its deep roots might shift our perspective on the few cultures that still practice cannibalism today, albeit only occasionally, such as the Agori, a Hindu ascetic sect in India that does it in pursuit of transcendence. Interesting. Above all, these discoveries invite us to reconsider our revulsion to cannibalism in the context of our evolutionary past. Fascinating. Fascinating. Wouldn't you say? Wise, but wise. Shout out to Wise. All right. Well, I guess if that's all we got, then we could just call it there. Or we could maybe give a little bit of something for Mr. Patrick there. Possibly. It's a good idea. Hopefully it won't be an issue or anything. I don't think it should be, because it's seems to be in the public square, right? So, oh wow, Jack Black admits to selling his soul to the devil on the Tonight Show. Well, this might be the one right here. Give us one chance to knock your socks off. Let me make sure there's no... All right, no, I think I'm good. All right, let's go. Awesomest scene possibly ever. Possibly. Close to it, close to it. It's pretty great.
Hey guys, you're running a little late. There's one spot left. You got any new material? What we got's gonna turn your brain into shit. Just off the stage, open mic host. Step aside. Okay, big shots. You're up whenever you're ready. Let's blister this asshole. Jack, wait. You got the pick? Yeah, got it right here. Let's go. Maybe I should use it tonight. And you use it next time. I should use it tonight. I'm the lead singer. It's a guitar pick. I'm lead guitar. Okay, dude, don't freak out on me. Let's just work this out rationally, okay? We'll take turns with it. I'll use it now, you'll use it later. I'm not freaking out. You're freaking out. So just let me hold it. For 1 second, you're not gonna use this fucking pick. Guys, the crowd's getting restless in there. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's wrong? We can't go on. We had the demon's pick, but then we broke it. And now our masterpiece will never happen. We can't pay the rent because we will be fueled by Satan. Yeah, come on, get up. Come on, stand up. We're all right. You guys, having some satanic guitar pick isn't going to make your rock any better, because Satan's not in a guitar pick. He's inside all of us. He's in here, in your hearts. He's what makes us not want to go to work, exercise, or tell the truth. He's what makes us want to party and have sex with each other all night long. He's that little voice in your mind that says, fuck you, to the people you hate. Now, you can stay out here and fight on the ground and cry like babies, or you can go in there like friends, rock. So what's it going to be? Let's go in there and show them what Tenacious D is all about. Yeah, I already got a guitar pick anyways. Dude, we can still use the pick. You use one half, I'll use the other. There's still some juice in it, probably. You know what I mean? Where's that? I am complete. Yes, you are fucked. Shit out of luck. Now I'm complete and my cock you will suck. This world will be mine and you're first in line. You brought
Where'd your mother go? We challenge you to a rock.
Give us one chance to rock your socks off. Fuck! The demon code prevents me from declining a rock-off challenge. What are your terms?
What's your plan?
If we win, you must take
Your
sorry
sorry
ass back to
girl.
and also you will have to pay our rent. And what if I win? You can take Cage back to hell. What?
To be your little bitch.
What are you talking about? To be your little bitch. Fine. Let the rock off begin. I love metal. Check this riff, it's fucking tasty. I'm the devil, I can do what I want. Whatever I got, I'm gonna flaunt. There's never been a rock off that I've ever lost. I can't wait to take cake back to hell. I'm gonna fill it with my demon shell. I'm making squeal like my Scarlet Pimpernel. No! Come on, Cage. Let's fight his music with our music. There's just no way that we can win. That was a masterpiece. Listen to me. He rocks too hard because he's not a mortal man. God damn it, Cage. He gonna make you his sex slave. You're gonna gargle mayonnaise. Unless we bust a massive monster mamma jam. Dude, we've been through so much shit. Deactivated lasers with
my dick. Now it's time to blow this fucker down.
Come on, Cage, now it's time to blow doors down. I hear your jibbles, now it's time to blow doors down. Light up the stage, cause it's time for a showdown. We'll bend you over, then we'll take it to Brown Town. Now we got to blow this fucker down. He's gonna rape me if we do not blow doors down. Come on, Cage, cause it's time to blow doors down. We'll find faggot, it's time for the smackdown. Right now, the other boss. We know your weakness, I like it tough. You rock the Casbah and blow your mind. We got to beat you for all that kind. You are the scepter, we are the king. You are the devil, we are the D. We are the D, 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 fucking lame. Come on, Cage, you're coming with me. Taste my lightning. Oh, fuck! My fucking horn! Oh no! From whence you came, you shall remain until you are complete the game! Fuck you, Cage! And fuck you, Tables! I'll get you, tenacious thing!
Oh, yeah. We challenge you to a rock-off. Give us one chance to knock your socks off. Dig-a-doo, dig-a-doo. Classic. See what Bex is talking about. Yapping away. Damn, dude. Sovereign Soul's doing another fucking thing about this Gwitsit interview. Ah. Let's see what Bex is talking about. It sounds more interesting for some reason. Not sure what the title.
Stubbed my toe and my toe broke. So
Oh
again,
my
I didn't
God.
want to waste resources, and so I went to the doctor
What is up with the AI castle stuff?
in January, and I was due for an X-ray because we'd never checked the other break, and sure enough, actually by the time I got that one so that one is X-rayed as broken. I hit my foot on the side of my. Anyways, I ended up refracturing the.
All right. I'm all right. I'm all right now. It's a bunch of ladies up in there right now, and King Stephen, as he calls himself, King Stephen. So there's that. What else is there? What else is there to look at right now? How about on topic? Oh, that's right. I still didn't watch. Let me see here. Who was it again? Was it? I'll be back. Oh no, wait. She lost her channel. That wasn't it. Let me make sure. Pretty sure that's not it. There were another couple videos on Mr. Rothscum that I wanted to. Oh, she is there. Now it is there. Okay, then. I don't know. Very strange. There we go. There we go. I don't even know if I saw that she uploaded this one. It's just I felt it through the ether. There you go. 3 days ago, back to 1967. Rothschild Dynasty. 1331. How about that? It's 13 minutes and 31 seconds. Today is 3/1, and I am 31. Let's check this out. Shout out to Sandra at I'll Be Back 2. That's 2 in Roman numerals.
Question of how and why the United Nations is the crux of the great conspiracy to destroy the sovereignty of the United States and the enslavement of the American people within a UN one-world dictatorship is a complete and unknown mystery to the vast majority of the American people.
Now, this almost sounds like Manly P. Hall right here, but I could be wrong. Let's see.
The reason for this unawareness of the frightening danger to our country and to the entire free world is simple. The masterminds behind this great conspiracy have absolute control of all of our mass communications media, especially television, the radio, the press, and Hollywood. We all know that our State Department, the Pentagon, and the White House have brazenly proclaimed that they have the right and the power to manage the news, to tell us not the truth, but what they want us to believe. They have seized that power on orders from their masters of the great conspiracy. And the objective is to brainwash the people into accepting the phony peace bait to transform the United States into an enslaved unit of the United Nations one world government. Is that our so-called leaders in Washington, whom we elected to safeguard our nation and our Constitution, are the betrayers, and that behind them are a comparatively small group of men whose sole objective is to enslave the whole world of humanity in their satanic plot of one world government. Now, as a matter of further intelligence, a term used by the FBI, let me clarify the meaning of the expression, he is a liberal. The enemy, meaning the one world conspirators, have seized upon that word liberal as a cover-up for their activities. It sounds so innocent and so humanitarian to be liberal. Well, make sure that the person who calls himself a liberal or is described as a liberal is not in truth a red. Now then, this satanic plot was launched back in the 1760s when it first came into existence under the name of the Illuminati. This Illuminati was organized by one Adam Weishaupt, born a Jew, who was converted to Catholicism and became a Catholic priest, and then, at the behest of the then newly organized House of Rothschild, defected and organized the Illuminati, Naturally, the Rothschilds financed that operation. And every war since then, beginning with the French Revolution, has been promoted by the Illuminati operating under various names and guises. In the United States, they set up what they called the Council on Foreign Relations, commonly referred to as the CFR. And this CFR is actually the Illuminati in the United States. And its hierarchy, the masterminds in control of the CFR, to a very great extent, are the descendants of the original Illuminati conspirators. But to conceal that fact, most of them changed their original family names to American-sounding names. For example, the true name of the Dillons, Clarence and Douglas Dillon, once Secretary of the U.S. Treasury Department, is Lepowski. There is a similar establishment of the Illuminati in England, operating under the name of the British Institute of International Affairs. There are similar secret Illuminati organizations in France, Germany, and other nations operating under different names. But at all times, the operations of these organizations were and are masterminded and controlled by the internationalist bankers, who in turn were and are controlled by the Rothschilds. Now, just why did the conspirators choose the word Illuminati for their satanic organization? Weishaupt himself said that the word is derived from Lucifer and means holders of the light, using the lie that his objective was to bring about a one-world government to enable those with mental ability to govern the world and prevent all wars in the future. In short, using the word peace on earth as his bait. Perhaps the most vital directive in Weishaupt's plan was to obtain absolute control of the press so that all news and information could be slanted, so that the masses could be convinced that a one-world government is the only solution to our many and varied problems. Now, do you know who owns and controls our mass communications media? I'll tell you, practically all the movie lots in Hollywood is owned by the Lehmans, Kuhn, Loeb and Company, Goldman Sachs, and other internationalist bankers. All the national radio and TV channels in the nation are owned and controlled by those same internationalist bankers. In 1834, the Italian revolutionary leader Giuseppe Mazzini was selected by the Illuminati to direct their revolutionary program throughout the world. Mazzini had enticed an American general named Albert Pike into the Illuminati. Pike was fascinated by the idea of a one-world government, and ultimately he became the head of this Luciferian
talk about
conspiracy.
the World War III letters.
Between 1859 and 1871, Pike, worked out a military blueprint for 3 world wars and various revolutions throughout the world, which he considered would forward the conspiracy to its final stage in the 20th century. Long before Marconi invented radio, the scientists in the Illuminati had found the means for Pike and the heads of his councils to communicate secretly. It was the discovery of that secret that enabled intelligence officers to understand how apparently unrelated incidents, one such as the assassination of an Austrian prince at Sarajevo, took place simultaneously throughout the world, which developed into a war or a revolution. Pike's plan was as simple as it has proved effective. It called for communism, Nazism, political Zionism, and other international movements be organized and used to foment 3 global world wars and at least 2 major revolutions. World War III is to be fomented by using the so-called controversies the agents of the Illuminati, operating under whatever new name, are now stirring up between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Muslim world. That war is to be directed in such a manner that all of Islam and political Zionism, Israel, will destroy each other, while at the same time The remaining nations, once more divided on this issue, will be forced to fight themselves into a state of complete exhaustion, physically, mentally, spiritually, and economically. Now, can any thinking person doubt that the intrigue now going on in the Near, Middle, and Far East is designed to accomplish that satanic objective? Pike himself foretold all this in a statement he made to Mazzini on August 15, 1871. Pike stated that after World War III is ended, those who will inspire to undisputed world domination will provoke the greatest social cataclysm the world has ever known. Quoting his own words, taken from the letter he wrote to Mazzini, and which letter is now catalogued in the British Museum in London, England, he said, "We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a great social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to all nations the effect of absolute atheism, the origin of savagery and of most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere, the people forced to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitudes disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will be from that moment on without direction and leadership, and anxious for an ideal but without knowledge where to send its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into public view, a manifestation which will result from a general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Anyway, the ending of the Civil War destroyed, temporarily, all chances of the House of Rothschild to get a clutch on our money system, such as they had acquired in Britain and other nations in Europe. I say temporarily because the Rothschilds and the masterminds of the conspiracy never quit. So they had to start from scratch, but they lost no time in getting started. Shortly after the Civil War, a young immigrant who called himself Jacob H. Schiff arrived in New York. Jacob was a young man with a mission for the House of Rothschild. Jacob was the son of a rabbi, born in one of Rothschild's houses in Frankfurt, Germany. After a comparatively brief training period in the Rothschilds' London bank, Jacob left for America with instructions to buy into a banking house, which was to be the springboard to acquire control of the money system of the United States. Actually, Jacob came here to carry out 4 specific assignments. Number 1, and most important, was to acquire control of America's money system. Number 2, find desirable men who, for a price, would be willing to serve as stooges for the great conspiracy and promote them into high places in our federal government, our Congress, in the U.S. Supreme Court, and all federal agencies. Number 3, create minority group strife throughout the nations, particularly between whites and blacks. Number 4, create a movement to destroy religion in the United States, but Christianity to be the chief target. In the final phases of the conspiracy, the one world government will consist of the king dictator, head of the United Nations, the CFR, and a few billionaires, economists, and scientists who have proved their devotion to the great conspiracy. All others are to be integrated into a vast conglomeration of mongrelized humanity, actually slaves.
Well, shout out to Sanja at I'll Be Back 2. Let's see if she's got anything on I'll Be Back 3. Is that channel gone? Yeah, it looks like that channel is gone. All right, well, got rid of one, not the other. Or perhaps she hid it? I'm not sure. Why don't we check out another one of her videos? Haven't caught up on her stuff. Former CIA chief of disguise explains the use of human masks. That would be a 1. Drop a 1 if you want to see that one. The Earth Alliance, the event 2020, a new day for planet Earth, Pleiadian light force transmissions. There's no such thing as a solar flash or flare, but New Age would like you to believe otherwise. What is this about?
Humanity will soon awaken to the true reality and be initiated into a higher plane of existence. That is, the satanic lie that man is God. But first, the planetary shadow, that is, the New World Order, must be confronted and overcome. Only then can the portal of initiation be opened, leading to the Great Awakening.
And there was a common theme that I was being told, which is that there was a vibrational change coming, what I would now call an informational frequency, energetic change coming, that was going to wake humanity up from its coma, its slumber. That there was a story that had to be told. That there was a massive.
If I had to guess, I would guess that this is from E511 Ministries. It sounds like his voice. So, good channel. I've actually been meaning to review their channel for a while and procrastinate.
Shadow across the earth, over the world, that needed to be lifted. All that had been hidden was going to be brought to the surface where we could see it.
Leading QAnon
Corey
followers
Good.
believe that this great
David
awakening to the
Wilcock.
Illuminati agenda and its imminent overthrow will coincide with a
Scamulant.
massive cosmic event, including the release of energy from the sun that will awaken dormant divine DNA in the human body, accelerating our collective evolution and triggering the ascension of humanity, a phenomenon New Agers sometimes refer to as the event. Many see the rise of Trump and the Alliance as tangible proof that this great shift in human consciousness is at hand, that the age of darkness will soon come to an end, and the age of light will soon commence, the return of the golden age of Atlantis. As more and more darkness is exposed and defeated, more light will begin to shine. All of this is thoroughly detailed on what is called the Great Awakening Map, which illustrates QAnon's pivotal role in the larger New Age agenda and in facilitating the Great Awakening and humanity's escape from the Matrix. As a political counterpart to the spiritual teachings of the New Age, QAnon is engendering a political awakening that will soon be joined by a spiritual awakening into godhood.
I was
Is this real, brothers and sisters? Is this looping or did it start over? Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't tell. Okay. All right. Sorry. My apologies for the loop there, folks. Let's check out Clown World Optics. Wow, this is real. Apparently, this is real. This bitch's whole rigged reality is scamulant. Her perception is scamulant. Her whole beingness is scamulant. Say that word 3 times and a wild snafu appears. Snafu, where are you at there? Dude, what the fuck is happening in this world? What in the fucking world, bro? What in the fucking world?
My fellow Americans, you deserve the truth, and I know you can handle it. My name is Jonna Mendez, and I was chief of disguise at the CIA. One of the things that was going on when I was chief of disguise was an enormous research program into the new advanced disguise system. It was basically the masks that everybody always wondered if we used masks, and this was the beginning. This is a series of photographs of when I met George H.W. Bush in the Oval Office and revealed to him that I was briefing him wearing a mask.
Now, in particular, and regarding this photograph, it is a Getty's image photograph. If you go to the link, you can see the photographer, all those kinds of details, who took it. So what is the anomaly with this particular photograph?
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks? This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
Vaxxed or masked?
It was a big challenge to come up with something that finally actually animated and worked to really fool a person, but we did.
They learned the art.
We actually brought Hollywood back into our labs at one point to look at what we had done, and they were stunned. They're absolutely stunned.
Congratulations.
My husband was Tony Mendez, and he was played by Ben Affleck in the movie called Argo.
Aliens and robots? Yes, sir. You're telling me that there is a movie company in Hollywood right now that is funded by the CIA? Yes, sir.
Are there many actors in Hollywood who also moonlight as agents, do you think?
I think there are probably quite a few, yes. I think probably Hollywood is full of CIA agents, and we just don't know it. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to discover that, this was extremely common.
Tony, they didn't mention it in the movie, but Tony had deep connections to Hollywood, to the tradespeople out in LA that did a lot of things we were interested in doing. Special effects people, makeup people. Tony was chief of disguise 10 years before I was chief of disguise. And so he passed on some of his expertise to me, but he had a particular interest in the magic industry out in LA. Not so much the magicians on the stage, but the people that were working behind the scenes to make that magic happen. So we went to LA and we posed some questions to them. We said, we have a problem. We're looking for novel solutions. Well, LA did have some ideas, of course. That's what they do for a living. They introduced us to a new concept. They said, what you are calling an operation, we call a performance. That's what we do. We put on performances. And before we start working on that performance, we have to define the stage that the performance is going to take place on. Then you have to know who your audience is. Who are you playing to? Who are you trying to fool? Once you assemble those two pieces, you can pretty much choose the time and choose the place and simply overwhelm them with your performance. Then they showed us some tools that they used. The one that really caught our eye is what's called a stunt double mask. You all know how they're used. When the movie star is so famous or so good looking that they can't risk damaging him, we liked the idea of stunt double masks. They're quick on, they're quick off. They dramatically change your appearance. And we started using them and found them to be valuable to our operations. But that audience piece of it did not allow you to get close enough to one of those masks before the illusion fell apart and you saw it was a mask. So we went back to our disguise labs out at Langley and we invented a whole new genre of masks. Masks that are so good, that are so realistic, that you can actually get up close and have a personal contact with someone for an extended period of time. They're good enough that you can brief the President of the United States in the Oval Office wearing masks. And he isn't sure if it's you or if it's someone else. Those masks were the beginning of a whole new generation of work that we did at the CIA. Once we could make these masks that fit you so well, then we discovered we could make a twin. We could make another you. There could be two of you. We could actually make 5 or 6 of you, but usually one extra was all we needed.
We will respond accordingly. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
That's only the tip of the iceberg. As longtime CIA lawyer John Rizzo tells it, the relationship between the spy agency and La La Land is quite cozy. In his new book, Company Men, Rizzo says that actors, producers, and other movie-making power players were always happy to help out the CIA in any way they could.
You worked for the very enemy you thought you were fighting.
It's impossible.
Then tell me why you've never been to Langley. You've been lied to. All lower-level
We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false.
So you're saying I'm working for the enemy?
William Casey, CIA director, 1981. Sounds about right, folks. All right, we could keep it short and sweet tonight. What do you think? Ended at
How do you
an
convince the
hour
other parents out there that we
31?
need to do this?
Careful, I'm going to get it.
Yes.
If that helps at all, but I'll tell you, my wife is not going to immunize her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz. And my wife is not going to immunize her kids. My wife is not going to immunize her kids. My wife is not going to immunize her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz.
They trusted the scientists back in 1976 with the original swine flu shot, and a lot of people got sick. Right. Not only that, some people died. Some people were paralyzed, and people remember the swine flu vaccine as a terrible disaster.
This is one time. Forget the conspiracy. Listen to our government agencies. These guys are telling the truth. You know, there's no conspiracy here, folks. Just get your damn vaccine. Just get your damn vaccine. Just get your damn vaccine.
The nail on the head. This is going to be a public relations, trust your government and your health officials public campaign. Mark my words, you and I are going to be talking about this a lot between now and fall.
Look on the CDC website as to what is in the swine flu vaccine. You know, aluminum, insect repellent, formaldehyde, mercury. You know, aluminum, insect repellent, formaldehyde, mercury. You know, that my wife is not going to immunize her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz.
Yeah.
This footage is 100 years old. It shows part of the military exercises that took place off the east coast of the United States between 1921 and 1923.
All right, we're going to save that one for another time, folks. I'm going to end it. Hour 31 minutes for 3/1. I am 31 at this current time. It just seems fitting. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Much love, peace, prosperity, and pineal power. And I will see you on the next one. Rot in piss, J-cunt, Roth scum. I'm sorry, brother. I don't know why that happened. Just kidding. I totally know why that happened. Fuck you. Rotten piss. I love you guys. See you on the next one.